In 2011, there were a whole series of incidents in the South China Sea between China and Vietnam, China and the Philippines. And it just seemed that this was a topic of potentially great seriousness, but which was so poorly understood by most people that it needed some investigation. And it's a part of the world which I've come to know, but which not many people outside the ranks of specialists know about, but is potentially crucial. The weird thing is that these islands are tiny. I mean, they're about some of them the size of the square outside these windows. And yet, if they weren't there, then there would be no issue. Because if the sea was just empty, then the different states would basically just agree to divide up the sea among themselves in the usual way. But because there were these tiny specks of land, people have been able to make claims on that land, and then from those claims, claim the sea around it, with the oil and the fish rights and that kind of thing. It's made it a cause for nationalists around the place. It's made it a reason for oil companies to want to, drill in these areas. So from these specks flows problems for the whole region, and given the state of relations between China and the United States, potentially a problem for the world. What I've discovered in writing the book is that the start of the Chinese claim goes back no further than 1909, really, and it's the result of all the anxieties in China around the end of the Qing dynasty and the revolution and the start of the Republic, and an anxiety about where the borders of China lay, whether China should try and lay claim to all the territory that previous dynasties used to occupy, or whether it needed to make an accommodation with all the new countries that were emerging around it. And in that confusion about where the borders of China lie are the origins of the South China Sea dispute, because lines were drawn showing historic territories, and then other people took up these lines to say this is where the territories of China should be now. And whereas in many places, for example, in Southeast Asia, in Burma, or in the north towards Russia, these were territories that were occupied by other people, whether the British in Burma or the Russians in Russia. In the sea, the territory was empty, and this became a place where nationalist Chinese could really assert their nationalism and say, this is our territory, regardless of this much more mixed history which shows the sea has always been used by lots of different people. I mean, some of the initial navigators were people from Southeast Asia. They were as far away as India and Arabia. These were the people that navigated the South China Sea, for the first millennia of civilization. We may not realize it, but almost everything that we do in the advanced economies depends upon peace in the South China Sea. The consumer products we use, the clothes we wear, perhaps sometimes even the food that we eat, all comes from this part of the world. A country like Japan is utterly dependent on the South China Sea. One large oil tanker or gas carrier has to cross the South China Sea every 6 hours to keep the lights on in Japan. And the same or something similar is true in Korea, Taiwan, and China is dependent on the sea for the transport of about 10% of its energy needs. If the lights start going out in these places, the world is going to notice, very quickly, when computers stop flowing and other manufactured goods. So, although things appear to be calm on the surface, if something did happen, it would be catastrophic for the world economy. It would, things would just grind down. I mean, there would be a huge recession. People would start going, short of money, hungry. There could be, internal chaos in cities, not just in the region, but much further beyond.